NLCS 第6戦から一夜明け、現地放送局では早速ワールドシリーズへの期待を煽る番組が多数放送されています。野球ファンなら、メジャーリーグのファンであればこの数年間ずっと議論され続けてきた大谷 VS ジャッジの縮図がこのシリーズなわけです。そして西海岸対東海岸、強豪クラブ同士の決戦、燃えないわけがないでしょう。煽り方も尋常ではなく、サムネイルにもある通り、マニラの殺し合いだのジャングルでの乱闘だの言いたい放題の現地放送、様々な角度からワールドシリーズを分析しようと各番組いろいろなデータを提示し、期待を寄せています。今回は期待に燃えている現地放送局の様子を翻訳してお届けします。このチャンネルでは日本人メジャーリーガーに関する現地放送局の様子を翻訳してお届けいたします。お見逃しのないよう今のうちにチャンネル登録をお願いいたします。
The Los Angeles Dodgers have this big payroll. They played the team with the biggest payroll, the New York Mets. But yet this was an interesting way to get to the Fall Classic. It wasn't easy, Harold.
No.
They had to patch together a starting rotation to get to the World Series.
And patched it together to get to the bullpen, to get to the World Series. Similar to the opponent in the World Series, the Yankees did the same thing.
Yeah.
And they did it about the same time. But the Dodgers and the Yankees have not met since 1981 in the World Series. You know how big this is? This is international. Shohei Otani is going to the World Series, Greg.
And he's going to face Aaron Judge.
Oh, my.
How great is this?
Yeah, we're looking at two of the best players ever played the game going up against each other in the Fall Classic. We're talking about the two biggest teams as far as market is concerned. If you look at the valuation, we're talking about the Yankees north of $7 billion, the Dodgers north of $4 billion. You see their payrolls. They've done it differently, overcoming challenges, both of them. It just tells you about the resilience of both ball clubs and that it is the sum of all parts. They have a lot of stars, both of them do, the Yankees and the Dodgers. But everyone has contributed. I mean, we see what the Dodgers have been doing, all the arms they deployed, and the lineup, everyone, even from top to bottom, also putting it together.
Yeah.
This has just been a great performance for the Dodgers now going to the Fall Classic.
Tell you what, I'll take it a step further for you guys. We're talking about Judge and Otani, but we're also talking about Betts and Freeman and Stanton and Soto. We're talking about 6 MVP guys that have been finalists or either one. I mean, it is the clash of the Titans. And then who's going to pitch? You got Garrett Cole. Rendon was fantastic. And then on the Dodgers side, it's been bullpenning. The bullpen stepped up.
Yeah.
You know, so we're going to see what happens.
Party, and yet he's kind enough to come out with the goggles on his head. Mookie, thank you so much. It's Greg with Harold and Carlos Pena. This is a team that was supported by the front office in the offseason. They gave you the pieces to drive this Porsche to the Fall Classic. When you look back at the offseason and where this team is right now, tonight, celebrating another pennant, what goes through your mind?
First of all, what's up? What's going on, guys?
We're watching you.
No, I mean, that's why I signed with the Dodgers. You know, that's the first thing I said was I want to win championships with the S on the end. And those guys really said, okay, we're in. And each and every year they bring talent in, and they want to win just as much as I do. And so it's a blessing to be a Dodger. And I'm just very thankful that we're in the spot we're in right now.
Hey, Mook, it's Harold here. Congratulations, heading back to the World Series. Really awesome. I want 2 things. One, spring training, I talked to you, Freddie, and Mookie. You are Mookie. So I sat down with you guys, and you and Freddie made it real clear you wanted to get Shohei to the postseason. Was that a motivating factor?
Well, I mean, I wanted to get Shohei just as much as I wanted to get there. So, yeah, it definitely is a motivating factor. And I think, you know, seeing Shohei in this spot in the playoffs, you know, you really get to see who he is and how much fire he really has. I know he's really quiet, but he has a lot of fire, and he loves winning just as much as everyone else. And so, you know, I love him, and I love these boys here.
Hey, I heard Kike say earlier, we didn't have a parade in 2020. Think about that. Is that kind of something you're thinking about too? Like, I want a parade.
Yeah, first we got to win, and it's going to be a tough task for the Yankees. They're a very good ball club, but of course I want a parade. I want to get on a parade and really get to know LA, because when I first got here, there wasn't a parade and it was COVID, so I really haven't gotten to experience LA just with a parade, and so it would be nice. But we got a tough task in front of us.
Mookie, we've seen other sports, right? Even when you have many stars in one team, sometimes it just doesn't work out. You know, so many different egos. But the Dodgers are different. What is it about you guys? Everyone checks their ego at the door.
Yeah, I mean, I would say we got a lot of talent in here, and there are a lot of egos. Everyone has an ego, but I think everyone appreciates everybody's ego. You let it. You can't like really check it fully at the door, because you got to play with your ego. But we all appreciate, and we kind of boost each other up with the egos. And so, like I said, in this clubhouse, in this dugout, I mean, it's a lot of fun, man. I think everyone in here loves coming to work and loves getting a hit for the next guy, and we love. Like I hit the double later on, and it was so much fun, and it brought so much joy just for me to do the hit celebration. And so I think just stuff like that, man, it makes me really love being a Dodger.
That's crazy. Our show knows nothing about ego. That's so refreshing. Crazy, Josh. You know, Mookie, you have experience that a lot of players on your team don't have, and that is competing in Yankee Stadium when it matters most. Your experience with the Boston Red Sox. The thought of playing a World Series game in the Bronx, what goes through your mind?
A lot. You know, I think it may be slightly different because being a Red Sox in Yankee Stadium, I think is a little different than being a Dodger in Yankee Stadium. But I mean, you know, Yankee Stadium's going to be rocking. It's going to be loud and obnoxious as it always is. But that's what makes it fun.
Man, they're going to be all over you. They're going to be all over you.
I'm ready. You know what? To be fair, Yankee Stadium probably has the most creative stuff that I've heard in right field so far.
Exactly.
So I'm actually ready for it.
I love it.
It's going to be such a fun World Series. Mookie, we appreciate your time. Continue the party. You deserve it, okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Get him, Mookie.
There you have him. The great
Congrats,
Mookie
man.
Betts. You get to dream on this. This is the World Series. Look at the 6 images on your screen. Soto, Stanton, Judge, Shohei, Mookie, and Freddie. I mean, this is...
look at this.
This is two super teams colliding.
Wow.
Now, that said,
Wow.
which of these two teams is clicking on all cylinders the most? The Dodgers or the Yankees?
I'm going to have to go with the Dodgers. I mean, everyone seems to be firing all cylinders, right? Everyone contributing. It's a sum of all parts. You see 1 through 9 having good at-bats. The pitching, it's on. The bullpen is coming and getting zeros, putting zeros on the board. The Yankees are doing well, but not as well as the Dodgers are.
Tell you what, I think both. I mean, the emergence of this guy.
You have to answer one.
I mean, what Stanton is doing.
I'm going to let him finish. He's not going to give an answer.
They're doing. Look, the interesting thing.
He never gives an answer.
They're clicking like crazy.
They are.
But the difference is, no, I really, honestly, I think Rodon, I think Cole are on. So I give the starting pitching nod to the Yankees. The bullpen, I go the full, complete bullpen to the Dodgers. So I think clicking on full cylinder, neither one of them are. There's question marks.
All right.
Sorry, Greg.
It was,
I hurt you.
So
it was very political, right? It was very political.
You're looking at 6 images, right? 6 images. Are any one of the 6 guys injured?
Well, the only one is Freddie.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, wow.
He's
that's a
got
good
a
point.
bum ankle.
Yeah, good point.
I think I'm going to say this team is clicking on all cylinders. By the way,
This dude is clicking.
Oh, dude.
All of them.
wait, another aspect to this, Garrett Cole and Jack Flaherty, right? Those are the two.
So
right?
Garrett Cole's.
Garrett Cole's kind of an advantage, right?
Yep.
Rodon over Yamamoto. We've seen
I
Rodon.
like Yamamoto pretty good, too.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Because
that's a
they're all
toss for me
going
right
4
there.
innings. This isn't like they're going 7.
I think the Yankees may have the edge. How about this? Let's just compare who is more intimidating of the MVPs. Maybe do a tail of the tape.
Okay.
All right, just take a peek at your 2 cleanup hitters from their previous
Like
postseason
boxing?
game. Yeah, like, you know,
Yeah,
maybe
what are you
this will
trying
be
to
the
say
deciding factor, okay?
6'7"
You got
against
the 6'6" Giancarlo
What are you
Stanton.
trying to do here?
And you got the 5'10" Tommy Edman. So I don't know. I have a feeling that if there was an underdog, I know it's crazy to say that the Dodgers would be the underdog, But I think the Yankees are the favorite to win this World Series.
We cannot even use that word here, underdogs. But that doesn't even qualify.
Well, if it's 51% to 49, then technically you're the underdog.
I don't think so. That's
right?
Is that what it is? 51 to 49%?
I don't know. I haven't
like
called my friends in Vegas yet. I haven't. But I don't know. I think the Yankees, with Stanton's emergence, and Freddie's banged up.
I give the nod, the offense to the Dodgers. I do. With Muncy.
Hey, I would say Harold.
Hey, let's get into this, everybody. We know the World Series begins on Friday. Dodgers will host the Yankees for games 1 and 2. And the teams that have appeared in the most World Series. So here we go. And they also have the most future Hall of Famers in the World Series. Now, check this out. I want you to focus on the bottom left, which would be Yankees-Dodgers. They had 10 eventual Hall of Famers. Yankees-Dodgers, on the top right, 1953, they had 10 eventual Hall of Famers. Now, in this series, by my count, and you guys can definitely debate me on this, I have 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 that I think are guaranteed with a possibility of 8.
Locks. Yeah.
The 8 or the 7?
I think the 7 is a lock. If we go through it, we got Mookie, Freddie. Are you even counting Soto yet?
Yeah.
Mookie,
Yeah.
Freddie, Soto.
Yeah.
Kershaw's not on the roster.
But he's on the team.
But he's on the team.
I'm counting.
Judge, Stanton.
Yeah, Stanton.
Well, that's the one I'm not quite there yet.
Well, you better get there. You better get there because it's coming. I mean, he's our best power hitter. He's the best power hitter of his generation. I think Stanton has to be in the conversation. I understand that maybe postseason numbers may not come into play for a guy's Hall of Fame, voting standards, but you can't deny that Stanton has been a powerful force as far as the power goes, since he's broken into the league. And yes, maybe he didn't perform up to the level during his Yankee tenure that you would have liked him to, but in this postseason, he's showing what his value is, and he's still extremely feared in the game right now.
The only issue I have is not with talent. It's not with power, 429 home runs. He'll get to 500. My only issue is games played. What do you think about that?
It's been extremely difficult for him to be on the field. And sometimes that happens with guys that are that big and of course, with such a violent swing and everything he does it so powerfully. But it's the bulk numbers that I'm looking at. When you talk about 500 home runs, man, we really going to have to get down to the nitty-gritty and say, is 500 home runs a chewing? Like, if you get 500 home runs in the major leagues, we got to be talking about you being in the Hall of Fame, regardless of the ups and downs that you've had. I know that we have advanced stats, CY, but 500 is 500, man.
Absolutely.
No, I throw those advanced stats out.
Good.
I'm looking at 500. No, I'm looking at 500. Now, you could look at it the other way. Let me just do this real quick. 500, and I'm talking about games played being low, it makes the 500 even more impressive.
Correct. You start looking at, and then now you get into rate stats. Like, Lowe's, I'm sure you get into the at-bats per home run.
Yep.
You start to compare the other rate stats of these other Hall of Famers who were no doubters in their at-bats per homer, and you start to see that Stanton, when he was on the field, he was great.
All right, now I know you got something coming up right here.
Yeah.
On previous World Series and star power in those World Series.
When you think of this star power that's happening with the Yankees, the fact that you have the Yankees and the Dodgers in the postseason, it's because you have so many household names. But to be on this team, what Freeman's looking at when you're signing guys is who is tried and true and proven in the postseason. I need those guys in my clubhouse because our goal is not just to make it to the postseason. Our goal is to win the World Series. So I have to bring in guys like Kike Hernandez that's been there, that I know who I'm going to get. If I'm the Yankees, the reason that you signed Garrett Cole in the first place is because he's proven, he's shown that, yes, he had a bad start against the Nats his first time around, but the second time around, he was able to make the adjustment. Even though the Nats ended up winning the World Series, these are stars that aren't just good players. They're guys who, when the lights get the brightest, they find a way to step up. We're seeing Mookie Betts right now come out of a big postseason slump, but we've seen him shine, and we've seen these guys win World Series. If you guys have won a World Series before, you understand that it takes a certain type of calmness to be able to slow the game down, to be able to come through in big situations, and nobody came through bigger than Juan Soto. Right here, he's taking Garrett Cole and Justin Verlander deep at 20 years old. You're talking about going against the best in the game on the World Series stage. At 20 years old, he was coming through, so there's no doubt in my mind right here at 25 years old, he's going to be ready. And then going back to the Dodgers. We're talking about Yankees and Dodgers. Freddie Freeman, hopefully he gets the opportunity to play here. He's been dealing with that ankle injury that he's had when he twisted his ankle. But seeing these guys shine, you need to see Freddie hopefully in the lineup. Hopefully he gets healthy. But these are a multitude of players who have been there. Yes, we went through the Royals series and the Orioles series, and you could tell they were a little inexperienced. When the lights got bright, you could tell they tried to do a little bit too much. In this series, you're talking about the Yankees and the Dodgers, two teams who don't strike out a whole bunch, know how to slow the game down. I see all of these guys stepping up big when the World Series starts.
And you got the two top-seeded teams in each league, and that doesn't happen very often. Here's a tweet from Sarah Langs. Shohei Judge. This will be the 6th World Series between each league's home run leader. Now, just digest that for a second. So the home run leader in each league facing each other. It joins Mantle and Snyder back in '56, DiMaggio and Mel Ott, who doesn't get enough credit, by the way, in 1937, Gehrig and Ott, 36, Babe Ruth and Jim Bottomley in 28. That's a great trivia question. And 1921, did you have Bottomley?
No.
21, you had Ruth and George Kelly. So that's how rare this is. Otani and Judge. Carlos, I know you got a lot to say, so say it.
Yeah, welcome to the main event. Man, this is the Thriller in Manila, Rumble in the Jungle, whatever you want to call it. Tweet us. Here's a teletape. As you can see, these two are big guys, 6'4" versus 6'7", 210, the most extremely lean right there for Shohei Otani. Of course, 282 for Judge, an absolute giant. The age is comparable. And look, these guys are both champions. They are where they need to be in the big stage. But let's look at the intangibles. They do it all, right? On the field, they got speed. So you can check that box. It's incredible how these big guys are able to move so swiftly and gracefully. For Judge in the outfield, we've seen Otani go out there and steal 50 bases as well. But then, make no mistake about it, it's the placatas that has us glued to our seats. All right, this is the impressive part. These guys are elite hitters. We're looking at two of the best hitters who's ever stepped on a big league diamond. And we get to watch him in the World Series. This fight is of epic proportions.
And I'll add this, neither has won a World Series. And I don't know if you said that and I wasn't paying attention, but neither has won a World Series, although you could make the case that Otani in the WBC and playing in his home country has won some big-time team awards. Now, the manager of the Yankees, talking about Aaron Boone right now, and I got to say, I'm happy for this man because he has been under pressure for years and years. He spoke today about appearing in the World Series.
Iconic teams, and East meets West. And this is, Dodgers, Yankees, Lakers, Celtics, whatever you want to say. It has that kind of feel to it. And I certainly remember, those times and those teams very well. 7 years now that I've been here. There's always been that occasional talk about Yankees, Dodgers. I think it's going to be, I'm looking forward to all of it. The stars will be out. The eyeballs will be watching. And hopefully we can deliver on a great series. I can tell you Garrett will pitch game one. We're just starting to kind of, formulate our plans and things like that. So we'll see.
Aaron Boone played in one World Series, by the way, in '03. They lost to the Marlins. So Garrett Cole starting game number one. See why? Thoughts? I mean, not a surprise, but what do you think?
No, I love it. I love it. I mean, this is who's made for this moment. And if you're going to win, your ace has to be able to go. The same way I feel about Yamamoto, I feel about Garrett Cole. He had a rough stretch for a little bit, but then he's been able to turn things around in this postseason and keep his composure and prove that he is extremely mentally strong. And he's ready for this challenge. He's been waiting for a long time for this challenge on the World Series stage, and I feel like he's going to step it up. The Dodgers are a tough lineup to go up against. You're talking about a team that really doesn't chase, doesn't swing and miss. So Garrett Cole is going to have to pitch in the zone. He's going to have to challenge some guys. You can't pitch around guys. You can't put the four fingers out for one of them. You're going to have to attack every single one of these guys in this lineup. And it starts off with Otani and Mookie leading it off. So we're going to see what Garrett Cole's made of very early in the game.
Well, we know he's got the weapons necessary to succeed, right? And this is the thing. You can't even, we're talking about defaulting maybe a pitcher when you go up to the plate with your approach because you have such a long season. But in the postseason, you have no time for that. You got to go with what you got that day, and you have to figure out a way to beat the guys that you're facing that evening. And Garrett Cole certainly has the pedigree. You see the experience and how proven he is. So there's no doubt that, there was no doubt for me that he was going to be the one taking the ball game one in the World Series.
There's more pressure, obviously, on a starting pitcher who may only get one start in a World Series than on a position player who is going to get up 4 or 5 times in a game, and then if it didn't work out, the next day he gets. So this is like this is like you walk out there. He's going to walk out there in L.A., and he knows, and obviously he knows, that he's got to be big, and he's got to go long, and he's got to be effective.
I mean, we've seen that all throughout the postseason, though. We saw it with Skubal, on who Skubal was for the Tigers, and what it ended up turning into, what Manaea was for the Mets. You can tell that they're feeling that weight on their shoulders when they're stepping on the mound. But when it's a game one, you understand that you're setting the tone for how the rest of the series is going to play out, especially once you get to the point where you have 3 games in a row. Granted, they'll have 2 games, off day 3 games. But Garrett Cole understands that he's the ace over there. He has to set the tone. It's a huge amount of pressure, but that's what you sign up for, isn't it? That's what you sign the big deal for. That's why you go play for the New York Yankees, is because you want to be the player that gets that moment, gets that opportunity. So if you have the power to be bad and choke and ruin everybody's day, you also have the power to make everybody's day and create these legendary stories. And I think you look at it from the optimistic side and said, I'm going to go out there and try to become a legend in this series.
Matty, that is the best thing about the postseason. And now this is magnified exponentially in the World Series, right? It's now or never. There's no more time. There's no tomorrow. You have to win today. And you're talking about pitchers getting a start, perhaps one start in the World Series, and that's it. And you get that first start. You want to make sure you set the tone and punch first, to go back to the boxing analogy. That's the beauty of postseason baseball, that you have to perform and own the present. There's no tomorrow.
And you were there in 2008 against Philadelphia. And as I recall, the weather was fantastic.
Yeah.
In that series.
Awful, the worst ever.
私たち日本人もこの対戦には胸が躍りますし、ポストシーズンが始まった時から、むしろ始まる前からこのカードを全員が望んでいたのではないでしょうか。MVP 獲得者がずらりと並ぶ両軍のオーダー、現代最強スラッガーがそれぞれ所属するチーム。これはどんな夢物語なんでしょうか。翌、大谷翔平物語、と揶揄されることがありますが、その物語のシナリオライターはこのワールドシリーズでどんなドラマを紡ぐのでしょうか。それぞれのホームゲームを全てそれぞれのチームが勝ち、迎えた第7戦。そこまで盛り上がったら最高ですね。同点もしくはビハインドの場面で9回裏にアウト満塁。バッターは大谷翔平。歓声と怒号と悲鳴が一瞬静かになるドジャースタジアム。放たれた打球はアーロン・ジャッジ選手の頭上を越える逆転サヨナラ満塁ホームラン。私がシナリオライターだったら書けるドラマはこれが限界です。皆さんはこのシリーズどんな展開になると思いますか。ぜひコメントでこのシリーズへの期待、起こりうるであろう展開の予想を書き込んでくださいね。それでは次回の動画でお会いしましょう。さようなら。